Hello, all of you beautiful people. I hope you have been well. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a video that was talked about on our hair system Reddit, which I hope that you guys actually wind up joining, because guess what? Inside there, we're in community, we're sharing knowledge, we're sharing thoughts, opinions, all this kinds of fun stuff. But anyways, this video right here is entitled My Nightmare Experience with Hair Replacement Systems, What Goes Wrong with Hair Systems. And it's kind of a big deal because it's got 120,000 views on YouTube. It's nothing to shake a hat at there, bud. So today we're going to be taking a look at it, breaking it down point by point by point, and seeing if it's accurate or, you know, just what my thoughts are. You can decide if it's fair or not at the end of the video and leave me a comment below. But real quick, this video is sponsored by Lord Hair, so make sure if you do want to check out a hair system from there that you use my discount link down below. But let's just jump into the video, shall we? All right, so here we go.
Let me just start off by saying it was the worst thing I could have done about my hair replacement, because I endured it and its pitfalls for over a year.
Okay.
Pure agony, and most importantly, the things that salons and wig manufacturers don't tell you and don't want you to know about living with them long term. I'm starting off with the point that everyone checking out this video knows what a hair replacement system for men is. Those who don't, it's essentially a wig which you tape on or glue to your scalp and which covers the bald patch only. And when blended with your natural hair at the back, it gives a good impression of natural full hair.
Here's a picture of the last system I used, and believe me when I say, I'm glad I don't use it anymore.
So let's start with the positives.
It looks good short term.
But short term, when you do go to a salon and have it freshly fitted, it does look great. You come out feeling on top of the world.
And these are pictures of me on a good hair day, or a good weekday if you like. But honestly, not only they were few and far between, but also, like you learn in the rest of this video, they were fraught with hassle and shortcomings.
However, the system is not a one-day thing. Once you take the plunge and decide to have a wig on, it has to look great and it has to look the same for the rest of your life. And let me tell you, unless you are filthy rich or have plenty of free time on your hand, it won't. So here's a long list of why you should never ever have a hair system.
Okay, so let's just start with that right there. First, they do look good in the short term, and they can get a little bit raggedy unless you know how to manage and use them. That's the key. You have to learn how to use them. But for the sake of all intents and purposes, let's just play along for the rest of the video, shall we? All right, so point one, there's cheaper, easier, and permanent alternative.
Here's an easy, permanent, hassle and mess-free alternative, and that is a hair transplant. I had one done 3 months ago.
These are pictures of me before and after the operation, and you can see for yourselves that it does look better and definitely more natural than a hair system.
Okay, first off, no judgment here. This guy can make whatever decision he wants, and he's 3 months out of a transplant, so I'm gonna give him his fair shake, of course. But I will say that right now, this does not look natural. It just doesn't. But you know what? Like I said, fair shake, it's not gonna look natural 3 months after you get your hair transplant. Full results don't come until a year. Now, comparing a hair transplant to a hair system, also not fair and not really adequate, but I'll play along.
And even price-wise, it cost me less than what I had spent on hair systems and their accessories for a year. And the beauty is, I don't have to put up with any of the mess and struggles of hair systems, including the fact it's so pricey. Mine were one of the cheapest considering the quality. They are one of those whose base lasts up to a year, but the hair on it lasts 6 months maximum. Then you have to send it to be topped up. They charge £750 sterling per system, and they ask you to make an order for 2 to start with. Plus, I think around £200 top-up fee each time you want to top up the hair. Plus at least £250 a year for glues, tape, shampoos, oils, and protein sprays. So that's a total of £2,400 for 2 years, or £1,200 a year.
Okay, so I'm gonna give this guy like whatever, you know, he can say whatever his experience is, like can't take that away from him, but he's saying that a hair transplant is cheaper than about £1,200 a year, which is really cheap for a hair transplant. Is it possible? I guess maybe, but I was looking at a hair transplant in Turkey and they were not that cheap. Not that cheap at all, Buster Brown. Definitely more expensive than £1,200 a year. But I can't say this like is, you know, he didn't find some kind of crazy cool hooligan deal. So we'll play along more.
That's before you factor in any fitting sessions, which are about £100 each. I learned to fit mine myself the hard way, but a lot of the people don't have the time or the ability to glue or tape their own system. And salons tend to give monthly memberships for regular fittings running in the region of £200+ a month. Which if I did take up, yes, I wouldn't have had to deal with the mess of fittings myself, but it would have taken up my yearly cost around £2,500. And this is considered a reasonable price for a bespoke system and service fees. With some other salons, you'd be lucky to spend anything less than £3,000 or £3,500 a year. Some may have come across ordering generic systems online, where you send them your hair measurements and hair sample and select from a list of specifications, then they'd send you a system back for as little as $100 plus shipping. Well, having done that too, it was a $200 down the drain because the system wasn't even remotely close to my natural hair. It was Chinese, very dark and shiny, with an almost synthetic look, so I just threw it away.
So first I want to honor this guy because obviously it sounds like he's had a terrible experience, and I'm not sure why this happened to him, but anybody that has worked kind of like one-on-one with me, that has actually done a consult, or really just people that have looked at my channel over the past like two-ish, three-ish years, I don't think people have gotten that result if they follow the things that I've said, including how to order custom hair systems. You got to be careful when you're ordering systems online, not because people are trying to swindle you, but you just got to know what you're doing. And you have to be aware of a lot of different topics. Unfortunately, it's not super duper easy to order a hair system online from nothing, from scratch, if you don't have knowledge of it, which, no offense to this guy, but it doesn't sound like he has that knowledge or had that knowledge. Maybe he does now.
And that's the risk with online ordering. You may very seldom get a good match, but without the face-to-face interaction, when the system doesn't turn out to be a match, you cannot do much about it, because the company will just say, you made the online selections yourself. And it turns out they don't look at the hair sample at all, just the online choices of style, texture, and color, which you select yourself. So in a nutshell, if you want to do it properly, it'll break the bank. And if you want a cheap cheat, you risk throwing your money away. Third, if like me, you don't have the money to pay for regular fittings, you have to learn how to fit it yourself. Let me tell you, it was a sticky affair. Learning to handle glue on hair when you're not qualified is not nice. I must have gotten the hang of it after 3 months or 12 times. I used to fit them once a week, and with the stringy glue brand I was using, it used to take me hours to wash the old glue off the old system and put new glue in, and endless times of getting it onto the hair itself, and therefore countless hours struggling to get rid of that. Basically, I never used to look forward to Sundays when I had to do that, because basically it took over all my Sundays. I'm glad those days are behind me.
The guy makes a valid point here that like when you first start with a hair system, that you really do need to kind of understand what you're doing when it comes to glue. Like it's not easy at first, and it requires like a little bit of skill and a little bit of profession, but you know, with a little bit of time, things get manageable. You know, we all go through that learning curve, but it sounds like this guy doesn't want to learn, and that's okay. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing's forcing him or you to learn how to do it. If you don't want to do it, yeah, maybe a hair system isn't for you. It kind of comes with the territory that you need to learn how to manage putting adhesive on your head. It's not the easiest, but people can do it.
4. No matter what haircut you get on the system, if you're walking in windy conditions or, heaven forbid, running outdoors, then make sure to take a mirror with you, because all you'll be thinking is, does my hair look terrible, or is my glue or front line exposed?
And these are pictures of me on bad hair days, and frankly there have been mainly bad hair days and good ones during the entire times when I was wearing a hair system.
All right, honestly, this point to me is kind of laughable. I have done everything underneath the sun. I mean, I'm still trying new stuff, but I've done CrossFit for like 2 hours a day. With no problems with my hair system. I have run, I've been in the wind, I've been on boats, I've been on roller coasters, I've been on pretty much anything that you can think of, and I've not had my hair system ever come off, not once, not even if it's been on for 2 weeks and it's like sticky and just like ready to fall off. I've never had any of that stuff happen. Now let's also address this thing right here. Let's talk about it. So all this stuff right here, he's talking about bad hair days. Yeah, you're having a bad hair day, bud. Probably one, because I mean, shots fired, okay? But one, you don't know how to maintain your hair. Number two, there's no hair on the side of this guy's head. Like there's nothing to blend with here. And like there's days with a hair system that you may feel like you're having a bad hair day, but here's what I've learned, at least for me. I'm going to take responsibility and say, as I've learned how to manage my hair system and manage my hair better, those bad hair days are few and far between. In fact, the only like bad hair days that I have are the days where I just like wake up and I don't do my hair. When I do my hair, when I take a shower, guess what? I have good hair. So I don't know, like to me, this one right here just feels unfair, especially about the wind thing.
5. Salons have you believe that you can swim with your hair system. A lot of providers in fact have adverts of models swimming to show you can do pretty much anything and lead a normal day-to-day life with a hair system. I myself was lured in by that, but again, unless you are filthy loaded with money and can have a fit-in after a swim, then the bare truth is water and glue is never a good combination. The level of paranoia you get when you swim with a system on is unbelievable. You worry all the time that your front line with the tape or glue is exposed, or worse, that it comes off. And if you're wearing goggles, then forget it. That risk is multiplied, and the risk of the system coming off from the goggles' elastic rubber is very likely. The number of times I missed on snorkeling or a diving trip while on holiday is unbelievable. It simply is not worth it.
Yeah, that's just bullshit.
6. If you're a single, sexually active man and lucky enough to engage in sex with non-regular partners, then be prepared for paranoia, because what new partner in bed isn't going to want to touch your hair mid-session? Half your attention will be on, please don't touch my hair, please don't scroll it back, please don't out me as a wig wearer, when you really want your full attention to be on performing. Did this happen to me on numerous occasions? Well, I plead the fifth on that one.
All right, guys, I'm gonna do the thing where I get all self-righteous and I talk about this guy beyond just hair systems. First, This dude just said that he's focused on performance when he's with a woman. Now, it's something I've just learned, but when I'm with my girlfriend, you know what I'm thinking about? Being intimate with my girlfriend and being in that space and being present with her. Okay, I know. You didn't ask for that kind of opinion. Anyways, this is just not true. Like, listen, if you feel insecure about wearing a hair system, you're going to be insecure about wearing a hair system all the time, whether you're in the wind, whether you're exercising when you're with a woman. You're just going to be insecure about a hair system because you're insecure. That's all I got to say about this one.
7. Simply put, you can no longer have a bath in which you dip your head in water when wearing a hair system. Like I said before, water and glue are not friends, and warm water and glue are even less of friends. And even if you don't dip your head in water, just the steam coming out of the bath will change the tape or glue from dry like it should be to tacky and wet, meaning it would be susceptible to mixing with the hair itself, which you never want.
I have no clue where this guy is getting his information from. You can't take a bath. What is this guy talking about?
8. You do need breaks from constantly wearing the system. I used to take it off on Saturdays, and if I go out or work out that day, I used to wear a cap and then put the system on the following day. However, there will be times when you get an occasion to have your hair on a Saturday and on a short notice. And when that happens, it's a nightmare because you can never rush the cleaning and fitting process. And also, I noticed with time that it takes at least a night post-fitting for the hair to start looking more natural. So having to fit it in a rush may lead to a nasty surprise.
I'm not sure where this guy is getting this information or like why his experience was this way, but you don't need to have a day off. If you choose to have a day off, that's great, but you don't need to have a day off. And it doesn't take me 2, 3, 4 hours to do a hair system reapplication. It takes me maybe like an hour. That's about it. Like from taking it off to putting it back on. It's kind of like not a big deal. And I just generally watch like a TV show while I'm doing it, and it's just back to business.
Fine. Working out can be messy. Let's just say the sweat and heat from the heavy workout not only makes the tape or glue become tacky and wet, but the base itself on the front line could come off, and that happened to me many a times. Sometimes at the start of the session itself, which leaves me worrying for the rest of the session about gluing the base back in by constantly pressing on it, instead of time spent on enjoying the workout. That's the other thing. If you comb the hair back, the risk of the front line coming off and being exposed is much higher, like nearly on a daily basis if, like me, you work out 4 to 5 times a week. That's not to say that even if you do comb it forward, you won't have days when you could be exposed.
So this point right here that this guy makes is probably one of the most honest that so far I'm hearing. And that's, when I first got my hair system, I actually got rid of it after about 2 months because I didn't think that I could keep working out with it on, because I was trying to make it like 4 weeks in between when I would reapply. And I wasn't getting that long with hair, like exercising and wearing the hair system. It would kind of get like loose and sticky probably after about 2 weeks. And, that just wasn't working for me. And it also started to smell a little bit, to be honest with you. I was in Florida, it was hot, I was sweating all the time, like 2 to 3 hours a day. Here's the thing, I learned how to get past that with like a couple tips and tricks. And now, I exercise more than ever probably, and I don't have any issues whatsoever. I never have issues with lifting. I don't have these issues at all. So this is just him not learning how to use a hair system. That's just what it is.
10. Stigma. I personally work freelance online from home, so I was lucky enough not to have colleagues in a normal office setting. Because if you work in an office or anywhere that has nothing to do with the art or hair industry like acting, dancing, or hairstyling, then expect a vicious reaction from colleagues. I saw it many a times in hair replacement forums where the sudden change in guys' look from bald to having a full set of thick hair overnight will lead to daily ridicule because while you may call it a sophisticated hair system, all people who know you see and know is a man with a wig. And many of those guys had to stop wearing their systems after the daily pressures, having forked so much money on them. So all in all, embarking in the hair system route is many things. It is costly, it is time consuming, it can repeatedly stop you from doing lots of things you enjoy in life, and it can also subject you to the worst ridicule.
The worst thing that you could possibly do after getting a hair system and someone making fun of you is to actually get rid of the hair system. And here's why. As soon as you give someone else the power to change what you do because you're afraid of what they think, you've lost forever with them. You've given them so much power over you, and they'll know it forever. They'll know it forever that you succumbed to whatever peer pressure, when in reality they were making fun of something that they don't understand. Then they're probably not that great of a person, to be honest with you. They're probably kind of an asshole. So I feel bad for this guy. If he either thinks that, or I should say I feel bad for the people that this guy witnessed online, because, listen, people can be jerks out there, and that's true. Like, people do sometimes get exposed to ridicule, but here's the dirt. right? Don't give a crap about what people think. Do what you need to do for you and what makes you feel better. If the hair system makes you feel better, that's great. Transplant, great. Shaving your head, great. I'm for all of those things as long as you do it for you and it makes you feel amazing.
All that can be avoided. Like I said, this is me 3 months post hair transplant operation, and I couldn't be happier. Do please check out my hair transplant video where you can see me before and after. So not only it looks good considering I was severely bald, and it would look even better with time, but also I don't have to deal with all the shortcomings I had to endure when wearing a wig.
You know, I really am, I'm happy for this guy that he essentially like did not really feel like he got what he wanted out of a hair system, and that's okay. I'm sad that he didn't get a fair shake with a hair system and he felt like, you know, he didn't get what he wanted and it didn't work out for him. But I honestly do believe that you know, things could have been different for him. And you know, so I actually just opened it up and this is him with a hair transplant. Looks like 2 years after the fact. So, you know, he's looking great. Like, it doesn't really matter what I think about how he looks, but he looks like he's doing great. And it's 5,200 grafts, it says, that he got. So, like, you know, he's happy, and that's what's important, honestly. But what I don't support is, you know, misinformation inside of the community when it comes to hair systems. And that video just so happens to have 120,000 views. Like, that's massive. So I think it's my duty to correct that and to make you guys know that his experience is not representative of what you could have for a hair system. So I hope this was informative for you guys, and I love you and appreciate you, and we'll talk soon.